and welcome to Planet Pulse on Firstpost. The Earth is constantly changing, and in recent years, for the worse. Summers are getting hotter and winters harsher. Rising sea levels, floods, drought, wildfires, and torrential rain have been disrupting lives across continents. The fight against climate change is needed now more than ever. On this show, we bring you all the top stories on the climate crisis, its causes, its brutal effects, and the warriors helping to fight the menace. At a time when definitive action against climate change is the need of the hour, the United States, under President Donald Trump, seems to be looking away, putting Washington's energy agenda over environmental protection. After the US pulling out of the Paris Agreement and Trump abandoning climate action, a recent verdict by a US jury against environmental advocacy group Greenpeace has triggered a debate. The jury ordered that Greenpeace pay over $600 million in damages to an oil pipeline company. Climate activists and civil society groups has dubbed the order as a chilling attack on climate action around the world. Our next report gets you the details.
I'm going to be a dictator, Sean, for one day. And I'm going to drill, baby, drill. And I'm going to drill, baby, drill.
As US President Donald Trump pushes his drill, baby, drill agenda, a recent order by a jury in the United States has offered a startling outlook for climate activism.
Our commitment is...
We stand! Our brothers! Our brothers! Our sisters! Our sisters! Water is life! We're still here! We're still here!
A jury in North Dakota ordered environmental advocacy group Greenpeace to pay over $600 million in damages to an oil pipeline company, Energy Transfer. 3 of Greenpeace's entities have been held liable for defamation and other claims over the Dakota Access Pipeline protests that occurred in 2016 and 2017.
So today, the jury in Morton County, North Dakota, returned a verdict in our case for over $660 million against the 3 Greenpeace entities being sued by Energy Transfer. I'm not surprised. I mean, when you look at the original complaint and this revisionist history of how Standing Rock came about and Greenpeace's role, this is another revisionist history of what this case was about and what the outcome symbolizes. This is an attack on the First Amendment. This is a very blatant attack.
Climate activists and environmentalists across the world have criticized this order, saying it would embolden other oil and gas companies to legally pursue climate protesters. Environmental defenders rallying behind Greenpeace say the order has fueled concerns that courtrooms were increasingly being used to smother critics. They are calling it a chilling assault on climate action around the globe.
The people who power organizations like Greenpeace, you can't bankrupt them. They are there, they are fully in support, and the work will continue. Well, the reality is that you might think of Greenpeace as an organization or a set of organizations, and we are more than that. We are people-powered. We do not accept corporate or government funding. We are entirely supported by individuals who give small amounts of money.
Oil company Energy Transfer, which was co-founded by a prominent Trump donor, Kelsey Warren, accused Greenpeace of orchestrating violence during the construction of the contentious Dakota Access Pipeline project nearly a decade ago. 3 Greenpeace entities faced charges, including defamation, trespassing, nuisance, conspiracy, and deprivation of property access. From 2016 to 2017, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe led one of the largest anti-fossil fuel protests in U.S. history against this pipeline. The protests left hundreds arrested and injured. Greenpeace began work in the 1970s with a campaign led by Canadian activists to block nuclear weapons testing on an Alaskan island. US offshoots grew in the following years. Greenpeace says it got involved in the Dakota Access Pipeline because the tribe, the Standing Rock Sioux, asked for its assistance. Greenpeace says it has a policy of only getting involved in indigenous-led movements if specifically asked. The North Dakota jury order is not the end for this case, though. Greenpeace has said it would appeal to the North Dakota Supreme Court.
This is not over. The struggle continues, the struggle for justice, for ensuring the freedom of speech, peaceful assembly, peaceful protest. Our quest will continue through appeals and beyond.
This has been going on for, over 8 years. It is the end of one phase, but the fight is far from over. We will be appealing. There's a lot for us to dissect. We've only been out of court for about an hour, and we see a lot of issues with how the case proceeded and how it ended. And so we're just really analyzing all that. But one thing's for sure is we will be appealing this case.
Greenpeace International is also countersuing Energy Transfer in the Netherlands, accusing the company of nuisance lawsuits to stifle dissent. Experts say Greenpeace has a better shot on appeal. This legal fight comes as a major test for the global climate movement. Whether it's a victory for the oil giant or the climate fighter, the verdict will certainly send a strong message across the world.
Glaciers worldwide are disappearing at an alarming rate, with all 19 glacier regions losing mass for the third consecutive year. This rapid meltdown is more than just an environmental crisis. It threatens fresh water supplies for billions, increases the risk of natural disasters like floods and landslides, disrupts food production, and accelerates rising sea levels. Scientists say that glacier preservation is no longer a choice, but a matter of survival.
For the third year in a row, all 19 of the world's glacier regions have experienced a net loss in mass. A grim trend that the United Nations warns is no longer just an environmental issue, but a matter of survival. Glaciers, apart from the vast ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica, cover around 700,000 square kilometers globally. Yet, these icy giants are shrinking fast. In 2024 alone, glaciers collectively lost a staggering 450 billion tons of mass. The losses have been particularly severe in Scandinavia, in Norway's Svalbard archipelago, and North Asia has suffered its worst glacier melt ever. Over the past 50 years, glaciers have lost more than 9,000 billion tons of ice. That's 9 trillion tons of ice. This is equivalent to a massive 25-meter thick ice block the size of Germany. At the current rate of melting, glaciers in Western Canada, the US, Scandinavia, Central Europe, the Caucasus, and New Zealand may not survive the 21st century. This is no longer just a distant warning, it's an unfolding crisis. Glaciers play a critical role in the planet's freshwater system. Together with ice sheets, they store about 70% of the world's freshwater. They act as natural reservoirs for billions of people. If these glaciers disappear, so will crucial water sources. The consequences of glacier loss are far-reaching and often devastating. Melting glaciers can trigger floods, landslides, and avalanches. Once the glaciers shrink beyond a critical point, water supplies will begin to dwindle. Hydroelectric power plants depend on steady water supplies from mountain glaciers. Shrinking glaciers will reduce the water available for irrigation, affecting food production worldwide. The UN has made it clear that there is no negotiating with the laws of physics. The only way to slow glacier loss is to combat global warming by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Ignoring the problem may seem convenient in the short term, but it'll make solutions harder in the future. Glaciers may seem distant, tucked away in high mountains and polar regions, but their fate is deeply intertwined with daily life across the globe. whether it's freshwater supplies, food security, economic stability, or rising sea levels. Their disappearance would reshape the world as we know it.
Northern Kenya, once a land where cattle thrived, is cracking under the weight of drought today. Herders watch helplessly as their animals fall. Hunger creeps closer as hope feels distant. But now an unexpected solution has emerged, one so small that it had been ignored all along. Crickets, tiny creatures packed with power. At first they were feared, but now they might be the key to survival in the region. Women of the Maasai tribe, who once relied on cattle, are embracing a new way of life. Can these six-legged insects truly replace the mighty herds? Stay with us as our report takes you inside this tiny revolution.
In the sun-scorched plains of northern Kenya, life has always revolved around cattle. The rhythm of hooves, the songs of herders, and the promise of milk and meat define survival. But the land has been changing. Droughts stretch on for years, waterholes are drying up, cattle is collapsing, and there are bones scattered like forgotten relics of the past. Between 2021 and 2023, over 2.6 million livestock perished. Disease, land scarcity, and relentless bandit attacks turned once thriving herders into desperate survivors.
I love cattle very much, but they face many challenges. During drought, most of them die, and also during heavy rains, they contract diseases. They lack enough feed. They are not safe because of bandits who steal them.
But when one way of life crumbles, another must rise. And this time, salvation comes on 6 tiny legs. When the idea of cricket farming arrived, people laughed. Crickets were seen as pests, bad omens, even threats to livestock. If one chirped too close to a homestead, it was crushed without a second thought. But then came the training. Experts explained the power of crickets, how these tiny creatures could provide food, money, and resilience in the face of drought. Women of the Maasai tribe listened. Some hesitated, but there were some who dared to try.
The challenges that have made me love cricket farming because cricket rearing does not require a lot of land. You are not required to move from one place to another. It does not take long because you do not need to go into the forest to look for feed. All you need is to build a shelter and feed them.
And the results were astonishing. Unlike cattle, crickets are low maintenance. They don't need vast grasslands or gallons of water. They thrive in tiny spaces, they multiply fast, and they are packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals.
We believed crickets were a bad thing. We used to say that if crickets come to our homes, they will kill our cattle. Anytime we saw a cricket near our homes, we would kill it. But later on, we were educated that it is of value, and we informed everyone at home that cricket is not dangerous.
Across pastoralist communities, at least 34 groups have now embraced cricket farming. Experts say this shift isn't just about survival, it's about empowerment. Cricket farming provides independence. It eliminates the need to chase unreliable rains. It creates a steady source of income in a world where cattle are no longer a guarantee.
The cricket now provides a safety net. Now, ICIPE is actually championing the cause in terms of providing technologies that crickets can be mass-produced using readily available substrates like kitchen waste.
But not everyone is convinced. Cultural taboos run deep. Many still wrinkle their noses at the thought of eating insects. Even though awareness campaigns are underway, change takes time. But for the women who have already taken the leap, there's no turning back. They see a future where hunger is a thing of the past, a future where tiny creatures bring big change.
When they came to teach us, the Maasai, about crickets, we were shocked. What is this cricket? At first, we did not agree with the teachings. Why are we being taught about crickets? How will crickets help us? But when we agreed to be trained, we understood its value and we know it will help us in the future.
The only question left, will the rest of Kenya hear the chirp of opportunity?
And that's it on Planet Pulse for today. We will see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India. What we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.